wanted to tell you about today is Red Pine Exploration. It's a company that I joined as president and CEO back in July of last year. And I want to show to you today why I joined and why I think it's a good investment. It's a project that's been around for a while, but you can see on the map here, it's really at the center of a greenstone belt where there's been a lot of investment by other companies in this area over the last number of years. And what they've come up with is a lot more gold production and a lot more discoveries. So you can see around us where we are in the middle of that pile of other companies. We're close to Alamos Gold. They've had great discoveries at their Island Gold Mine. They recently just purchased the Magino Mill from Argonaut. We have Wesdome operates the Eagle River complex, and then there's the old Hart Mill, which is 1,000 ton per day. All of these three mills are within 100 kilometers of the Red Pine property. And the reason this is significant is that we don't have a mill. And when we're developing this project going forward, some partnerships or some opportunities for custom milling exist. And that's really what we want to start looking at. But the first step for us is doing exploration. The reason that a lot of these other companies were successful in the region is exploration. They invested, they had a new geologic model, they went into old camps, and they found more gold mineralization. And that's really what we want to do here. You can see on this slide, you see Wesdome is now down to about 1.5 kilometers. You can see Alamos Gold is down over 1 kilometer, and you can see little old Red Pine there, which really is just scratching the surface. It's in the same rocks. It's an extension of the Eagle River mine, and really it just goes to show that with more exploration and good exploration techniques and a new updated model, this is where we're going to add a lot more value to this project. And this is really why I joined the company, as it's on this slide. You can see on the right the map that's here. This is a very large gold system. This has been mined originally in the 30s, more recently in the 60s and 70s. It's an area that's an old camp. It has a complex history, as a lot of these old areas do, because of multiple ownership. And this is why this area is a lot like when I worked for Wesdome, we had the Kena mine, and we found the best part of that deposit by looking at some of these old areas. I think if you look at Cisco Mining and the success that they had at Windfall, again, it was an old mining area, large gold system, underexplored. Alamos, similar. Look at their Island Gold Mine. It was a tough mine near surface, a lot of manual labor, a lot of manual mining methods, and now look at the best part of that deposit was at depth with a new geologic model. So that's really why I joined this company, and I know this company very well because I used to work for Wesdome, and I've been here on multiple occasions to assess the ground, and I think this has a similar look. It just needs the exploration to find the best part of this deposit. So last September, we released an updated resource estimate. And previously, like I said, I looked at this project. And at the time, when I looked at it last couple years ago for Wesdome, we looked at it as a solely underground operation. 5 gram per ton, big meaty deposit, 10 meters wide, something that we could easily put in a truck and haul 100 kilometers down to the Eagle River Mill. So that's its potential. But what we found is that in the last 5 years, they did about 65,000 meters worth of drilling in the hanging wall of that deposit, and they found a lot of lower grade mineralization. So now what we have is an option to mine an open pit on top of that underground. And that open pit has about 1.7 million ounces of combined indicated and inferred, an average grade of about 1.5 grams per ton. And this is completely unoptimized because there's more drilling to do. But that's a good start. So what it says, we could mine a big open pit, and then we could go underground. Or we always have the option of just mine it as an underground, or we go with something smaller. So there's a lot of technical work that we have to do to really show the value of this property. And that's really what some of this program has started to do. But until we know the best path, we think it's really important to understand what we have. And that's why we're going in here and we're drilling around that resource, seeing how big this could really be, and then we could ask the what-if questions. What if we have 2 million ounces underground? What if we have 2 million ounces in a pit? Then how does that change how we go forward? Do we want to build our own plant for an underground operation? Do we want to build our own plant for a big open pit? Do we want to sell it to one of the mills in the area? There's lots of capacity. These are all the things where the value is really going to be added into this project. Because I think it's really only been looked at as an exploration project in the past, but we want to do with this round of exploration, we have a fully funded 25,000 meter program to drill to define what this could possibly be. Is it going to require drilling afterwards to better define it? Absolutely. But what we want to do is get a line of sight on how big this could be, ask the what-if questions, and if it says, hey, you know what, we should go down this avenue, then that's the avenue we'll go with future drilling. But this is why it's so exciting. This is early days of where this project can go, and it's where a lot of these other projects were 5 years ago or 10 years ago. We're just a little slow getting out of the gate, but that's what we're going to be focusing on now. You can see here, this is a long section. The black line at the top is surface, so we're looking at the side of the deposit. You can see the Jubilee Shear, which is kind of the shadowed area. That is the pit in which hosts the resource. So that's the open pit material. And you can see it's plunging down towards the south in this image. And you can see why there's blobs of higher grade mineralization down there. It's because there's no other drilling that's available. It just hasn't been very well drilled, but you can see it continues on, and we believe it's going to continue on for a long time. Because like I said, this is very identical to the Eagle River Mill. It's in a diorite similar to what that deposit has. It's shooty. It's just that Eagle River. It's vertical. Here, it has a shallow plunge because there was different confining pressures when it was developed. But the benefit of that is you're not dropping down in a mine as fast to get the number of ounces. So where a good deposit, good gold deposit might be, you know, somewhere on the order of 1,000 to 2,000 ounces per vertical meter, this is somewhere in the order of 3,000 ounces per vertical meter. So already we're off to the races, and we've got a nice underground mine that could be here. But what I really found was interesting is if you look underneath the pit area, which only goes down about 250 meters or so, there isn't one drill hole below this open pit, not one. So you saw the map that showed the other deposits that go down a kilometer. We're only at 300 meters. So our plan for this year is to really start to test the down plunge area for the underground, and then start looking at the area underneath the pits to see if we can find more high-grade chutes, or also can we expand the open pit down to these areas at depth. So that's really the goal for this year. It's not infill drilling. We can do that sometime in the future. It's really about expanding this, show how big it could be, and really add the value to this project. Because that's what we're missing right now is the value. I just don't think people see this because it's always been looked at as just an exploration project. And when you look at our current valuation, you can see that we're at the bottom of the list with $11 valuation. We have a $30 million market cap, and almost a third of that is cash in the bank. Like I said, we raised $11 million late last year, and we're starting the 25,000 meter program right now. So if you just look the value per ounce compared to our peers, we're certainly undervalued, and that makes this a pretty good investment opportunity. But I think what we don't get value for is we don't get value for this exploration potential of making this even a bigger deposit than what we have, and we certainly don't get any value for the location that we're at. Because if we do want to develop this project at some point in the future, we're not going to have to build a mill potentially. And it's an underground mill or a mill for underground ore or for pit. These are all the opportunities that we have going forward that we don't have to pay for. And that's not built into the valuation of this company as well. So obviously it has been a complicated story. It's certainly something now we're starting to get out to market. We've cleaned up the story. We've cleaned up the company. We're very focused. We have money. We're going to drill, and we're going to have a constant news flow over the next 9 to 10 months. So I think that's the kind of company I think you should be watching. We're certainly excited. When the news starts to flow here, it'll be consistent every month, every 6 weeks with the true drills running, and we expect to have large step outs. We're going to be bold and aggressive on our exploration, and we'll have good results to show people at the end of this to show what kind of project this could be. And then who knows, at that stage, with the big players that are in the area where we are, maybe they'll come knocking on the door even more. And I should say, as an aside, Alamos is our largest shareholder shareholder at about 13%, but we have some other notable companies that we're talking to as well. So thank you very much.